motes drift and slanted gold. No clock ticks, no story told. Just canvas bare and hands that wait for something older than my fate. I dip my brush in midnight rain, but nothing bloomed, just hollow pain. Then through the pain a sparrow's wing left ripples where my doubt had been. The wind don't ask for perfect lines, it only asks that you align. I'm not the maker, I'm the door. The sky pours through me, nothing more. Each stroke a breath the forest gave to paint the light I couldn't save. Doesn't sign its name, it only flows and leaves a flame. I'm not the maker, I'm the door. The sky pours through me, nothing more. Each stroke a breath the forest gave to paint the light I couldn't save. What if the art was never mine? Just borrow grace and borrow time. Just borrow grace and borrow time. I'm not the maker, I'm the door. The sky pours through me, nothing more. Each stroke a breath the forest gave to paint the light I couldn't save. Just let it flow.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Art with Kenneth. Today I'm working on a painting that means something deeper than color, composition, or technique. This is a 4-foot by 8-foot oil painting on Luan. And this piece is rooted in a real chapter of American history that a lot of people don't talk about enough. Before the civil rights movement in the 1960s, Black Americans had to build our own systems to survive everyday life. And one of the biggest systems was transportation. Black-owned cab companies, black-owned bus companies, black drivers, and black-owned services. that served black neighborhoods because in many parts of America, white companies either refused to serve black people or made travel unsafe. So our people did what we always do. We built our own. And these transportation businesses weren't just about getting from one place to another. They were lifelines. They were protection. They were community. They helped people get to work, get to church, get to a hospital, get to school, get to family, and most importantly, get home safely. This is Painting the Green Book, Black-Owned Cabs, Buses, and a Forgotten Economy, Part 1, on Art with Kenneth on YouTube. Now this connects directly to one of the most important documents of black travel history. The Negro Motorist Green Book. A lot of people have heard that name, but most people don't truly understand what it meant. The Green Book wasn't just a travel guide or a little booklet people carried for convenience. It was a survival map. It was protection. It was the difference between being safe and being stranded in the wrong place at the wrong time. It listed black-friendly hotels, diners, restaurants, gas stations, repair shops, and tourist homes and safe stops for black travelers moving through a country that was filled with segregation, humiliation, and real danger. During this era, you could have been driving down a highway and not even know the next town was a sundown town. You could pull up into a gas station and be refused service. You could walk into a restaurant hungry and tired and be told you're not welcome. You could stop at a hotel with money in your pocket and be turned away. And if you ran out of gas or your car broke down, being stuck wasn't just inconvenient, it could be deadly. That's why the Green Book mattered. It was a quiet code passed from one black traveler to another saying, here's where you can go, and here's where you'll be safe. But what the Green Book also represented was something even bigger than travel. It represented a thriving black business ecosystem, a hidden economy that existed because segregation forced black people to build our own world. Inside those pages were real places that became lifelines for travelers, entertainers, salesmen, families, and workers. The Green Book listed famous black-owned and black-friendly locations like the Hotel Teresa in Harlem, known as the Waldorf of Harlem, where celebrities and leaders stayed when they were not welcomed elsewhere. It included legendary spots like the Waldorf Astoria Garage in New York City, a black-friendly service stop, and well-known travel hubs like Ben Moore Hotel in Montgomery, Alabama, a historic black-owned hotel that served as a safe refuge for black travelers. It listed safe lodging along A.G. Gaston's Motel in Birmingham, tied to the powerful black business legacy of A.G. Gaston. It also included popular black entertainment destinations, such as the Dunbar Hotel in Los Angeles, where black musicians and performers stayed during the jazz era, and locations like the Booker T. Washington Hotel in San Francisco, one of the most well-known black hotels on the West Coast. These were more than buildings, they were safe ground. The Green Book also highlighted something that doesn't get enough attention: black-owned transportation. Black-owned cab companies and black-owned bus services weren't just businesses, they were lifelines. Transportation was power. Transportation meant access. These services included and helped black people get to work, get to hospitals, get to school, get to funerals, get to church, and travel across cities and states where public systems were hostile or dangerous. Black taxi drivers weren't just drivers, they were protectors. They knew the streets. They knew what areas were safe. They knew what places to avoid. They understood the reality of traveling while black in America. During this time, travel wasn't casual. Black families planned their routes carefully, packed food and water, mapped their stops, and made sure they knew where they could refuel, eat, and sleep. In that world, the Green Book was not optional, it was necessary. And here's where the story becomes complicated. With the civil rights movement gained momentum and integration opened doors, it was progress. Real progress that should have happened long before it did. Black people fought, marched, suffered, and died for basic rights that should have never been denied. Integration meant we could finally eat at restaurants that once refused us, stay in hotels that once turned us away, and enter spaces that were once forbidden. But history is never simple, because integration also created an unintended consequence. Many black families began spending money in white-owned businesses for the first time, not because they stopped valuing black businesses, but because access changed behavior. And white-owned businesses had more money, more advertising, more locations, and more power. Over time, many black-owned hotels, restaurants, service stations, and transportation businesses began to disappear. A hidden black economy that once supported entire communities started to fade. That's why the Green Book is so important. It's not just history, it's proof. Proof that black people built a nationwide network of survival and excellence in the middle of oppression. Proof that black ownership existed in every category. Proof that black communities created safe spaces when the country refused to. And that's what I'm painting today. I'm painting movement. I'm painting struggle. I'm painting survival. I'm painting pride. I'm painting a time when black transportation meant black safety and black businesses meant black community. This painting is a tribute and a visual record, and my goal is to create something that feels like history frozen in motion. Something real, something powerful, and something that deserves to be remembered. Now, what you're seeing in this episode is the first layer. This stage is not about perfection. This is about building the structure of the story, blocking in the vehicles, the people, the atmosphere, the signage, and the energy of that era. And even though this is loose right now, you can already see the world forming. You can see the bus, you can see the cab, you can see the street life, you can feel the movement. And in part 2, I'm going to come back and push this painting further, adding sharper detail, more signage, including more of the business names that connect directly to the Green Book era. But even when it's finished, I want it to stay expressive, loose, alive, because that's what history feels like.
canvas folded by the water's edge. Kenneth tucks his blues beneath the ledge. Ochre drips like late daylight on paper trembling in the quiet. After the jazz, the pigments sigh. After the gig, the clouds drift by. He named the wind with cobalt grace and left no trace but open space. No lines held tight, just breath and hue. Trumpet smoke in every view. His strokes unspooled like walking feet. Down past the lake would soon repeat. After the jazz, the pigments sigh. After the gig, the clouds drift by. He named the wind with cobalt grace and left no trace but open space.
You're watching Art with Kenneth. The world of art seen through the eyes of an artist who truly lives it. This is the rebranded creative platform hosted by Kenneth J. Lewis Sr., where art isn't just talked about, it's created, explored, and brought to life. This is more than a podcast. It's a full experience. From powerful art history storytelling, to real-time art demonstrations, studio conversations, and inspiring creative talk, Art with Kenneth gives viewers a front-row seat to the process, the passion, and the purpose behind every brushstroke. Whether he's painting live, breaking down the legacy of great artists, or sharing the truth behind the creative journey, Kenneth delivers art with authenticity, energy, and soul. And you can experience it in person. Visit the KJL Art Sanctuary Studio at 310 4th Street, Ewing, New Jersey, and explore original works, commissions, and one-of-a-kind fine art available for purchase. For more information, visit www.kjlartsanctuary.com. Art with Kenneth, where history meets creativity, and the studio becomes the stage.
Now back to the show.
The bench holds where he used to stand. Two titles written in shifting sand. One for sound that wouldn't stay. One for how the colors play. After the jazz, the pigments sigh. After the gig, the clouds drift by. He named the wind with cobalt grace and left no trace but open space. After the jazz, after the gig,
At this stage, I'm laying in the foundation of the vehicles and story. You can already see the contrast between the taxi in the foreground and the bus behind it, almost like a visual timeline of black transportation and black movement through America. You can see the diner sign in the background, which is important because diners and restaurants were some of the most dangerous places for black travelers during segregation. And that's exactly why the Green Book mattered. The colors are bold right now because I'm establishing the mood. The figures are loose because I'm capturing energy first. And the street is beginning to develop into a stage because this painting is meant to feel like history happening in motion. In part 2, I'll tighten the faces, sharpen the vehicles, and bring the signage forward so the message becomes even louder. So, as I finish this first layer, I want to say clearly, this is only part one. Right now, the painting is still in its raw stage, loose, expressive, and almost unfinished on purpose, because the first layer is about energy. It's about movement. It's about laying the foundation of the story before the details take over. But in the next episode, I'm going to come back and push it forward. I'm going to add more detail, more signage, more business names, more history inside the paint. Because this isn't just an artwork. This is documentation. This is cultural record. This is a visual reminder that before the 1960s, Black America had its own network, its own system of survival, transportation, and economic power. And my hope is that when this piece is finished, the right collector, the right school, the right organization, or the right institution will recognize what it represents and give it a home where people can stand in front of it and learn something real. Because this is a true painting of history. Thank you for watching Art with Kenneth. This is artist Kenneth J. Lewis Sr., and I'll see you in part 2.
You've been watching Art with Kenneth. New live painting sessions and studio videos are added regularly. Subscribe to experience the work as it unfolds. From the first mark to the final decision.